any case. So, let's have a look. So, a partnership is anything between 2 and 20 partners. But in school, we're going to do only 2, because if you can do 2, you can do 20. So now, the difference is, in a sole owner, you'll have capital, you'll have drawings, right? Then you're going to have a T account called profit and loss. Ne? You remember that? Your T account, profit and loss, which would have the trading account, the income, and the expenses. And in the end, your net profit will be closed to your capital, and your drawings will be closed to your capital. Everybody sharp with that? So, because if you really think about it, when you go to grade 8 and 9, we tell you, oh, when you are an entrepreneur, you're going to earn profit. Okay? But now you can't live from the idea of profit, because you need money to pay your kids' school fees, to pay food, to pay the rent. So during the year, you're going to take money. And what do we call that? Drawings. So can you see literally drawings? Ne? Your profit and loss. In other words, the profit that you made as an owner. Ne? We call that the owner's earnings. Less his drawings will tell you how much of his earnings he's got left. Right. So how we used to show it is, we used to say, let's say the capital was 100 Rand, the profit was 20, and the drawings was 5, then this would be your owner's equity, would then be 105. So your owner's equity grew with the 5 Rand of the profit that he did not use. This is grade 8, 9, and 10. So everybody shut. I saw a hand. Now, earnings, the word earnings referred to the part of the profit that goes to this guy. And since he's the only guy in the business, it's his business, the profit is his earnings. Okay. Now you're going to see when we go to a partner. So now we don't have just one capital contribution, we got 2 capital contributions. We've got 2 drawings. Okay? We're still going to have only 1 profit and loss. Okay? Now, I see I drew that thing that I drew there for you here already. So let's just forget about that. So now what's going to happen, instead of closing that net profit to the capital, because there's only one guy, we're now going to close it to an account we call the appropriation. Okay? And the appropriation, the word appropriation literally means distributing. How are we going to share this profit? Okay? You guys get me? So, once again, these partners cannot live from the idea of profit. They actually need to have money to live. So, when we draw up that partnership agreement, we're going to agree about the following things. We're going to agree about salaries for the people, for the partners. We're going to agree about if we're going to get bonuses. And the bonus, you can say it's a birthday bonus, or you can say it's linked to performance. And then we're going to say they're going to earn interest on their capital. Because instead of just putting your money here in a business hoping to make a profit, you could have put it in a fixed deposit and made interest there, which is way less stress and way easier. So they are going to earn interest on the money that they put in the business instead of in another investment. Okay, because remember, this is also investment. Investment is anything where I put money in with the idea to get something back. Okay, so now, what's going to happen? In this appropriation, the first thing we want to say, it's obviously we're going to pay these guys salaries. That's the first part of the profit. Can you see this salaries is not an operating expense? How do I know that? What is the profit and loss T account again? The profit and loss T account is literally my trading account, all my incomes, all my expenses, and this is my net profit. Now, if you think about your income statement, where does the net profit lie? Right at the bottom. Right at the bottom. So in other words, that is the net profit that I calculated in the income statement. And now I see, oh, that is my profit and loss. And now we're going to talk about sharing with the partners. Now can you see those salaries? They weren't in the profit and loss T account. So they do not form part of the net profit. They are the net profit and how it's distributed between the partners. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so then we're also going to have our bonuses, if we have bonuses. We don't have to have bonuses. Interest on capital. Can you see every time with everything I have to specify with which partner I'm busy with? Okay? And then, let's say my profit was 1,000 Rand. They each got 100 Rand salary, 50 Rand bonus, and 150 Rand interest. Now can you see 100, 200, 300, 600 Rand of that 1,000 was already used. So now 600 Rand is already appropriated, distributed. Now 400 is left. And that 400 we call the remaining profit. Okay? And then according to our agreement on the partnership agreement, we're going to say how much is each partner going to get. Easiest would be to say, oh, let's divide it 50-50. Okay? Or they can say, well, partner A gave more capital, so he must get more profit. So let's divide it 2-to-1. So, but they're going to give you a ratio. Yes.
Is it possible to also use the remaining profit as capital, or like as an investment?
No, because your profit is going to change every year.
I mean, at the end of the day, what the remaining profit at the end of the day, use that money to increase the profit, not profit, the capital of the business.
Yeah, he can. He can. How will he do it? By investing it again. So, in other words, he can decide to put it in, but it's not a given. Okay, but I'll show you now. So now, I am going to take this, let's say we do it somahafies. Ne? So now I say, A gets 200, B gets 200, but I'm going to take it to an account I call the current account. Okay, so, in other words, when we did the sole owner, ne, we said capital plus profit less drawings, ne, gives me owner's equity. And then we can see how much the capital grew. Now with a partnership, we're going to say we have capital and we have current. So what's the current? Now let's look at number A. Let's say partner A, his current account looks like this. We're going to show his earnings on this side. What is his earnings? Remember, I was doing it here. What was his earnings? Oh, his earnings is his salary, his bonus, his interest, and the part of the remaining profit. So we call that his earnings. Can you see the whole profit is not his earnings, because now they're two partners, they have to split the profit. Okay, so now I say, okay, he got a salary of 100. Is that right? Or was it 200? 100. A bonus of 50. Interest on capital of, what was it, 150. And the rest of his profit was 200. So can you see he got 200, 300. He got 500 rand of the 1,000. And if I do partner B, it will be exactly the same. Copy paste here in this case. Remember, in the tests, it's not in real life, it's not going to be exactly the same. I'm just doing it like this as an example. Okay. But now, this is the guy's earnings. He's part of the profit. But during the year, he got his salary, eh? Because what is the purpose of having a salary if you can't get it? But now, everything here, that 500 rand earnings, everything of that he takes during the year is going to be shown as drawings. So if he takes a salary, they're going to say, oh, he took his salary, bank. If he took his interest, maybe he took 50 rand, or let's say 20 rand, I say bank in drawings. Can you see in the end, every time he takes money from the business, it's shown as a drawing. And they will close that here to the current account. So can you see here in the end, 320, of the 500, he used 320. Can you see? So, now, can you see in my balance sheet? In my balance sheet, I'm going to have capital and current. And I will have that balance of 180, ne? Plus the balance of whatever B took. And the capital of the two. And that together gives me the owner's equity. Can you just see that it's been booked a little bit different? Does that make sense to you? Not really? Go listen to my beautiful voice again. So what I want to show you is actually your life is going to be very well and well organized, because in our tests we're not going to ask you those T's. We're going to ask you the notes, because everything stays the same. The income statement stays the same. The balance sheet, the only part of the balance sheet that changes is the owner's equity, because now we don't have one owner, we have two owners. So that's the only thing that changes. So the only notes that's going to be different is the note for capital and the note for current. Now I want you to see here, if you look at the note for current accounts. First thing, can you see it's divided into the partners and the total? Can you also see that there's thick lines? So the thick lines indicate calculations. So every time you see a thick line, there was a sum. Okay. Now, next thing, I want you to see here, it says appropriation of net profit. This is just a heading, so you're not going to block and top anything. Right, it's just a heading. Now, can you see they say salary, bonus, interest. I'm going to add those ones. And it's going to give me what I call my primary distribution. Meaning, the partner is going to get that money is available to him. Doesn't matter if we make a profit or a loss. Okay. Then, I need you to see something. The next one says final distribution. Now, the final distribution is that part of the profit that's left over. Nay. You guys still with me? Now, the next one says net profit as per income statement. And that is what I call my partner's earnings. That's his earnings. Okay? And the amount there, the total net profit, is the one that they give me here. So that 190,500 will go in here straight, and you will somehow immediately get 2 ticks. So can you see, if I look at this, the total I get here will be the earnings of Sekele. And the total I get here will be the earnings of Mbata. Right. And then what do? I subtract their drawings. You see? How much of this have they already used? Okay? Yes.
They will always be given a net profit items, and I have to work it out.
If they want you to work it out, it would be a simple calculation, but they will always, 9 out of 10 times, they give you the net profit. They might give you the net profit and say they forgot to adjust the following adjustments, and then you just need to fix it. Yes, is that, yes, yeah. Okay, now you see here they say balance on the last day of the previous year, balance on the last day of the current year. It's literally the opening and the closing balance. Of what? What is the note that we're busy with? We're busy with the current accounts. So this will be the current accounts. Now, if you look here at the top, capital is a minus plus. Ne? All of this here is owner's equity account. Drawings is a plus minus because the more the drawings, the less the capital and the less the earnings. How do you think the current accounts work? When we did it, where did we do it? Which side showed the earnings getting more? The credit side. Which side showed the earnings getting less? The debit side. So it's a minus plus. Now, why would there be balances? Oh yes, of course. Because sometimes they will use less than their earnings. Ne? So next year, the current is already going to start with an opening balance. Or they could have used more than the current earnings. Then they're going to have a negative balance. So can you see, if I look here, my current accounts works minus plus. So which one here is negative? No. Which of these two is negative? The first one. Because debit is negative, credit is positive. Okay. Now, let's start by doing this exercise that you can breathe. It says here, the salary allowance of Sekele is 45,000 per year. It's very important that you see that it's per year, per annum. Because sometimes they give it to you per month. Then you still need to times it with 12. Okay. So, also very important, you only show what's applicable for this financial year. There isn't such a thing here with this as an accrued income or a prepaid or income, a prepaid expense or anything like that. Okay? Nothing like that. But you still show 12 months. So if they say this lady went on maternity leave and they forgot to pay her the 12th month, then you still show that because it still needs to go to her. Okay. Now, so they say the salaries is 45. So what's the total salaries? 90. Happiness. The bonus, they say both partners are entitled to a bonus of 90% of their monthly salary. So, for a year they get 45,000. So I need to divide it by 12 to get 1 month. And they get 90% of that. And how much is that? 3375. And if I total it, it gives me 6. Okay. Interest on capital. Now let's look at the capital. They say 12% interest per annum. So there's their capital. So I'm going to say 300,000 times 12%, 200,000 times 12%. You see? So this is going to be 36 and 24. And it works out 60. Everybody still with me? So now what I'm going to do is I am going to add downwards. So this gives me now this one is wrong. Can you just give me the right? Is it 80? 84? These kids are bothering me next door. Okay, and if I add this one, is that right? Now I want you to see that if I added that guys and that guy, both methods will give me the 156. Okay. Now, wait. Now I want to see here. Can you see my profit was 190,500? I already distributed 156,750. That's already planned. So how much do I have left? Can you see? So I've got 33,750 left. And I can check. The 156 plus the 33 gives me the 190. How am I going to distribute it between the two partners? And here they say in the ratio 2 to 1. 250. 14 minus 7 gives me 7. Okay, now, if they say he gets 2 pieces and he gets 1 piece, how many pieces are there? 3 pieces. Okay? So you're always going to add the 2. So now you're going to say 33750 times 2 over 3, 33750 times 1 over 3. And what does Sekele get? What does Sekele get? 22,500. And then this one is going to get 11,250. And now once again there's a line, so it means I need to do a sum. So I say 72 plus 11 . Can you see this? Sekele is getting 106,000 of the 190. And Mbata gets 83,000 of the 190. Which is most probably because Sekele gives a bigger portion capital. So they want a bigger portion profit. The drawings, I just look at the top. They give me, it's 60 and it's 70. So it gives me 130. And now there's a thick line, so I need to do a sum. But this sum I'm going to minus because it's got brackets. So this is going to be 46, 13 and 60. And again, everything down and side will give me the same. Now I have to do the balances on the last day, the opening, last day of last year. And I saw Sekele was negative, meaning she used or he used more of his earnings last year. But now it must cancels out. Remember, the business is going on. It's most not an end of the world. So this is going to be negative 9.5, positive 12. So who can tell me what's this total now? You have to work with the brackets. 2,500. And now I go down again.